also share it to people, and then we can start. Right. You can see. Give me a sec. So, how you guys doing today? I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. I mean, today's a beautiful Sunday, and right before we get on the topic, I'd just like to say you guys should like, comment, share, subscribe, you know, to this amazing stuff. Today, we're gonna have plenty to talk about, especially, you know, the percenters of the world, right? The billionaires, the wealthy, versus the poor, the poverty, and, you know, the gap between them. Because there is a very, very big gap between them. Hold on. All right. So, I mean, yeah. So, once again, what is the difference between billionaires and versus poverty? Well, the one percenters of the world owns about twice the amount of the people in the world, so twice the resources of everything. I mean, the one percenters are more wealthier than 6.9 billion people, which is the rest of the world. And we know they make a lot of the decisions that take place today. You know, why? Because they have so much assets, so much resources, right? They have so much brand, so much power due to the amount of financial stability that they have. But here's the thing, we're all human beings. And I know that these people that acquire this much wealth surely did not do it without hard work. They put in hard work. And throughout the years, many of them, right, took the right steps, invested the right way. And so they came up with so much, success because of the efforts that they put in. I mean, having so much success due to the efforts that they put in helped them to maintain these resources today. However, it took from the rest of the world, meaning others, not that they didn't work that hard. It just sometimes, they came up short, or their vision, their dream of how to live life was much different than the wealthy of the wealth. I mean, the wealthy, they basically don't have to follow a lot of the basic public rules. The average person, right, don't have even about, $2,000 in their bank account. Not because, you know, they're bad spenders, but the fact that they are tied up with, finance due to lack of stability, right? Because, I mean, they have to concentrate on paying the bills, right? And just the basic bills. And on top of that, they also have to live. So you have to eat. All of these things happen in a 30, 31 day cycle. And so their focus, right, of breaking out, their focus of understanding financial freedom has been cut short due to the fact that the one percenters have so much power that they control, you know, everything that the rest of the 6.9 billion people do, right? They even have, systems in place that when you receive your money, how long it's going to take you, right, to spend this money. However, because they have put things in place, right? Chances are they own properties, right? So you rent from them. The stores that you go and buy things from, they own all of that. Shelters, right? Parliament, when bills are being made, those who have a lot of resources are also considered upon because maybe if they pay too much taxes, they might not want to stay in the country and they might leave to go somewhere else, which in leaving can cause a lot of problems because they're going to take majority of the resources with them. This is also an issue, control of power. I strictly think that there is too much people that own too much things and that, you know, we need to regulate that because, I mean, as much homes as you have, you could only sleep on one bed, right? You have a lot, and of course, these resources help you to make money. But then on the other side, right, the advantage that you have is a very, you know, rigorous one because, I mean, you have, resources in every country. I mean, these rules for the mandate only affects those who are poor. Think about it. There's so much homeless people popping up on the streets. Why is that? And the fact that we still have a virus or viruses mutating and roaming the streets, how would this pandemic end? We have to solve the problem for poverty because if they can't afford to stay at a place of residence and we, the people, don't have, right, we're not willing to open up these facilities for them so that they can, sustain a future. Because, I mean, if they're living in the cold in the midst of winter and it's minus 33, 34, you know, winter is not meant for people to sleep outside, right? A lot more people, because the economy is not going the way according to, I mean, the billionaires, because they have accumulated so much wealth, it means nothing to them, right? They can stop completely people from going anywhere. And to a billionaire, they can get or override that. You know, airports mandates don't affect a billionaire, right? It doesn't affect the one percenters, right? Restrictions don't affect them. Matter of fact, it helps them to accumulate more money because of the amount of resources that they have, the amount of businesses, the amount of investments. And so it takes away because it enslaves the rest of the world. And so I am asking people of today, why has this, why has the people allowed this to take place? Because now, right, there is problems after problems, no solution. People are basically, doing the best that they can. But the disadvantage is so great that they fall back. They can't simply finish doing anything, right? So this is a sort of, you know, a issue in society that can easily be fixed due to the change of heart of the wealthy. Because if you guys have, you know, I mean, 90% of the wealth, and the average person, right, half of the world lives off of $5.50 or 59 cents a day. So you tell me that's nothing, right? The one percenters make more money in one day than 90% of the world will do in maybe 2, 3 years, because some of them are making millions every 2 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So the rules has not been fair because the one percenters stick to themselves. They keep their secrets. And so that's their secret of always growing and evolving. But for the rest of the world that we're all born into, we are equally entitled to resources of this land. And so, as much consuming that the rest of the world is consuming, we are allowed to consume these resources simply because it is our birthright. But when it gets sort of, put into a competitive way where you can then earn more, then that's when the deception, the tricks, you know, to get in front, right? The need to want to always win, the need to always want more and more. And so, what happens when that happens is just a small percentage of the world accumulates so much, and the rest of the world is ever so fighting just to even get a, a tiny percent of what is entitled to them. We focus, I think we set up a system that is to keep majority of the people poor so that they're not, if they're not physically enslaved, they are financially enslaved, because the one percenters decide, right, who's going to eat, who's not going to eat, who's going to live and who's not going to live. And so now there is so many things that are put in place to change the aspects, the understanding, the concept of people, right? Wealthy is becoming more wealthier simply because the systems that they put in place. The poor people have no other choice but to follow that system. And so that system is meant to what? Always keep you under the belt. We are wealthy, right? But the wealth is not, it's basically something that is a cover for society's problems, because we can easily solve the problem of homelessness. We can. I mean, if we provide facilities, right, for them to be able to live, then the viruses won't roam about. The viruses won't what's it called, keep spreading, right? Because if you're asking us to stay inside, but yet there's a whole bunch of people that gets pushed outside due to financial, you know, detriment, then it's a big issue, right? Because no matter what, they are people. They will connect with people. Though many people don't see them, they are still important. And that we need to do whatever we need to do to help, right? Opening up facilities helps. Sharing resources properly helps. I know that a lot of poor people, right? The reason why they're poor because of greed. They get opportunities and opportunities. These opportunities, they abuse them. A lot of them do that. But it's also vice versa. Because I think if we all had, a way to be able to function, you know, roof over our head, We don't have to worry about the food we eat. And it's every single person. Then there's going to be a lot of things that we can do and we can advance further as society. Because right now, it looks like we're just fighting over resources. Oh, who can accumulate more? And when they get more, they want more. And when they get more, they want more. So who can accumulate more? Right? That's one thing. Next, we know that a small portion of people have set up a system that it only benefits them and it takes away from, you know, 6.9 billion people. And so what's happening right now is that gap, because there was middle class before. Now middle class is getting wiped out and it's just strictly, you know, wealthy and very poor. So you're not in between prices of you know, of real estate, prices of business, prices of everything, right, is on the rise simply because they want to separate. There's no, you know, middle class. There's just basically wealthy, the super wealthy, and the rest of the world. So it's not really fair in many ways because, I mean, the world's also very much polluted. And if they get to keep all the things, then what is natural to us, what is our birthright, won't be anymore. And so we will have such a difficult future because of lack of resources, lack of order, you know, lack of fairness, right? Because, I mean, we have a lot of issues in society, but having a place to stay shouldn't be an issue. Everybody should have, you know, because if people don't look at the poor and they ignore the poor, and over time their services, right, will deplete because chances are they are receiving services from the wealthy. So the wealthy can also, in the long run, control what they give to them, and they can control what how they can get it, meaning they can tell them, you know, you need to do things even if it's, you know, even if it's to infringe on their human rights. In order to receive that help, they would do such a thing. Because, I mean, right now, I know we work so hard, right, to influence democracy onto the world. But now things have drastically changed. And due to so much, you know, strain on society, on every sector, now those problems that we had, that, you know, we were very much on the way of fixing, has now been on the back burner. And so I'm just asking, if you're wealthy out there, help the poor. You know, do the best you can. If you have resources, it's nothing to help others because you have so much to offer. I mean, are you really losing anything? I know you're keeping in the family generational wealth, but, you know, imagine a billionaire had a responsibility to be able to make, even in a year, make homeless people become wealthy or rich, or be able to come out of homelessness. You know, imagine if you had that as calculation, like you basically tested yourself and you said, you know what, I'm gonna compete with how much people I can help because of my resources, and you go help them one by one. Imagine the joy you would have as a person. Imagine the feelings that you will have as a person knowing that because of you, people didn't go hungry. Because of you, people didn't die. I mean, you can enjoy your luxury boats, right? Your yachts, the mansions, the multi mansions, right? The the private jet rides to different countries just to have dinner. Of course, the wealthy can afford to do that. But time is something that once it's gone, right? And so that is something that you can't get back. Even if you can live for long, for that moment, once it's past, it's past. So, and there's no sense of having wealth if you cannot help others. Is that true wealth or is that a disease? Because you're making more money, but are you inspiring more people? Are you helping more people? Are you changing their lives? You know, a lot of times you say, well, people are not going to give up um, handouts to people. People need to work for it. But when you reach a moment in your life where the working for it simply is getting replaced by machinery, then it becomes very hard for you to be able to elevate. I told you, yes, us as society, in order for progress to take place, we need to take action. We need to build, we need to create, we need to do so many things. But let's face it, all the machinery that we use out there today, right? They can all be automated. That is what automated systems have been here now. And now they have gone to the point that it can do it itself. Now, that's the truth. But people don't look at it that way. People don't see it that way. People think that it's it's just something else, you know, you know, the workforce and stuff. Look, right? Countries are, in barrages of crisis, from tsunami to floods to, you know, just basically um, famine, dry, farming destruction, you know. Take a look at the crisis in BC, not just BC, in Africa, Europe. Just every corner of the earth right now is experiencing some type of problem, whether it's weather related, whether it's financial related, whether it's food related, regardless. And these problems, right, are taking lives. If we don't want to get to a situation where, you know, majority of the earth, majority of the people of the earth extinct, then we need to fix an issue, but without controlling the people. Because all the wealth in the world belongs to the Creator. We know that it belongs to God, no matter what. We came here to see it. So if you came here to see it, it came from somewhere. And it couldn't really belong to your families. But it has kept it in that, meaning that you are watching over it. But it's what you do. And a lot of times, if small individuals have power, so much power gets misused, right? In a negative way, because it's very difficult to control a lot of power. And so that's why a lot of people get manipulated due to their financial state. A lot of people get deceived due to financial state. Why? There's always going to be a wedge between the wealthy and the poor, simply because the wealthy does everything, right, in order to uphold the billionaires, the wealth. I mean, the poor does everything just to get by, and the wealthy, right, just capitalizes whether it's it's good or bad. That's the system they put in place. And that's a tragic thing for the poor, because now more and more people are becoming poor. More and more people are losing their resources, right? More and more people have lost their jobs, their pensions, so many things. Because if the wealthy decides, then they can change the rules that are put in place due to what is happening in society. Because if they're wealthy and they control majority of the world due to the resources that you have, because I always told you, you're as important as from the physical perspective, you're as important as your resources, how much assets you own. See what I'm saying? That's the physical perspective. Before even um, people having respect for you or anything like that, that is how they calculate you as a human being, right? Because if you have seen these stories where you see a very wealthy person, right? They don't have to be the best looking person, but because they're so wealthy, what happens when they're wealthy? They get through. Chances are the respect levels gets high. Why? Because they can provide a level of freedom, financial freedom that the poor cannot achieve, you know, on their own. And so it's like giving candy to a baby. See what I'm saying? What happens is then the manipulation takes place. Why? Because of the amount of power. That's why power shifts is always changing hands due to finance, right? And so when you're financially sound, not just sound to you and your family, but financially sound with, you know, connection with, a lot of finance and resources, you basically gain a lot of respect. And so this allows the wealthy to always be on top because they control the banks. They control, you know, everywhere. Control the airlines you fly in. They control the jobs you work at. They control, even in your household. If you own a home, you still have to pay for utilities, right? You have to. You don't have to sign up, but in order for you to, have a good service, to have a comfortable home, these things you must take place. And so that is charging you, right? They get around to having a lot of higher links. And so it's almost like this. If you have a lot of resources, you're considered very important. And so a lot of times, right, the secrets of wealth gets kept between a small amount of people just because it's like they rig the system due to the abundance of things and they have accumulated in such a time. And so the rest of the world is due to fighting to survive. The pros and the cons of a wealthy person is a wealthy person, right, has a lot of links to people, has a lot of ways to to live long, to relax, to be comfortable. However, due to the amount of work, due to the amount of sacrifices, because a lot of wealthy people have a certain specific habits, getting up early, early in the morning, working weeks at a time, not even changing their clothes. You see, these are all habits of a wealthy person, right? Working resilience, right? So you're not giving up. You keep trying, you keep going until you achieve your success. So they put in the effort because achieving wealth is not easy. You need a lot of intelligence. And so wealth in the physical aspect controls almost everything. You see what I'm saying? Because of the position that you are in. But the poor person, right, has to go through a much different phase. They suffer a lot more, right? But poor people are a lot more happier than wealthy people. That is one thing, that is considered strange, right? Poor person can be, you know, can just simply have a basic living, but due to the fact that they can eat a okay meal during the day, I mean, you know, they get one, two happy gifts here and there, but they don't have a lot of responsibility because more money, more problems. This is something that takes place all the time, right? A poor person, if they have a genuine friend, it's a lot easier for a poor person to find a genuine friend. It's a lot harder for a wealthy person to find a genuine friend. That is why they spend so much money and so much time organizing, right, clubs and systems so that it sort of formulates a way of, you know, of a connection between wealthy people so that even if they don't like each other due to the fact that they're on the same level of wealth and connection and understanding intellectually, then they would be able to benefit by working together in order to accumulate more wealth. And that's how the wealthy stays wealthy. But poverty is something that takes place drastically in society, right? Due to the fact that the 6.9 billion people don't have those secrets. Let's face it, they work a lot, and they're the reason why the world's upheld because there's majority of them. And so this is one of the issues of society. A lot of people need to recognize that the life we are living, it's about, you know, connecting with each other, right? If we allow just a small percentage to rule and govern us, but they're not doing it due to in the right way, because I mean, leadership must take place amongst human beings. There's leaders of humans and there is followers. Most of the time, the leaders are a lot less than followers. Their characteristics are what I explained earlier: hardworking, very determined, passionate, right? Confident, consistent, right? And they do this day in and day out. Poor people, right? They have other methods. Or sometimes the way the system is what's called set up works against them. And so when they try, they don't get the same results, or they work less as hard because some of the wealthy was very poor before. And so if they're able to take that kind of work ethic and bring it to the next level, then it should show you that everybody has that potential. A lot of people would say, well, some people have such a greater advantage. But all of this is a systematic system that is put into place. I mean, Elon Musk wasn't very wealthy in the 90s. You see what I'm saying? However, due to his intelligence, now he's the world's wealthiest man due to the fact that his work ethic, his character, right? The way he values and sees life. Because you see in society today, if a very wealthy person you see walking, or driving or going somewhere, a lot of those people that, because they're on there, they know what's really going on. You don't see them, you know, dressing the fanciest, but yet they are the wealthiest, right? Because they're intelligent. They know what's going on. They know what is really valuable, right? And flashing so much is not good for your safety either. And so this is what's happening in society. Those who are dressed very, fashionable and stuff like that. A lot of times you go, right? They don't have that much place, like a good place to live. You know, they're eating, it's not so well, meaning that it's all, their understanding of wealth is different. You know, wealth is very important. Resources is wealth. Your health is one aspect of wealth as well. So, real wealth is your health, because if you're peaceful, or if you have billions of dollars and you're not healthy, I bet you would trade those billions for your health, because nobody wants to die. So, always make sure to maintain your self wealth. If you don't have physical money, make sure you take care of your physical body, so that it will be able to help your mental and your spiritual in order for you to evolve. But if you're wealthy, then make sure you seek for spiritual. However, because you you have three components. Sometimes you have the one that physically attracts so much, because money attracts a lot of wealth. You see what I'm saying? I mean, being successful attracts a lot of attention. But your problem is discovering who is true and who is not true. That is a wealthy person's biggest problem, discovering who's loyal and who's not. Because money is so powerful, in many cases, it changes the way people do things, it changes the decisions people make. Simply because they're thinking, if they have this, right, they can change the outcome of their life, right? Put them in a better position, put their family in better position. But sometimes the case is not so. So think about it. What is important to you? What is beneficial to you, right? What are some of the things that you can learn from the one percenters? And what is some of the things that the one percenters can learn from poor people? Because sometimes you could be poor, right? But you still have peace, meaning that you don't have, you're okay, right? You're okay. You're poor in in physical assets, physical material, but very rich in spiritual material. See what I'm saying? So there is. So you have to see which one's important. All three of them is important. You need physical wealth in order for you to survive, but that's not the only thing you need. You need a mental wealth in order for you to decide how society, and what to do, make choices, make decisions, which direction you're going to head in. And you need spiritual, which is the energy that's going to, you know, process your will, what you want to happen. You need all of them. So if you have one, check for the two of them, because sometimes you can come into, assets, right? And if you're not knowledgeable mentally, and if you don't, what's it called, if you're not really motivated to use your energy in order to get the task done, it can affect you drastically in the long run, just because you decided, you don't have the best work ethic. So Remember, we're poor because, there's a lot of secrets that are hidden of society. But I don't think nobody should, you know, not have a roof over their head or a meal to eat. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, let me ask you something. We are what? We are all undeserving of greatness in society. Not everybody has that, right? We're in disarray and we're focused on how to live, how to take care of, our roof over our head, how to balance our finance when bigger problems are arising, right? Natural disasters, right? Due to poverty is why people cut corners, right? Due to poverty is why a lot of crimes are taking place because people are becoming more desperate. Like I said, things can be good if we regulate how things should value. Because I think live our shelter and food should be value low. It should be something that is a God given right, you know? Because if we have a home and you have a place, at least you have dignity. But if you're on the street corner because you're poor and you're asking for money, for how long? Hmm? And how would they, like, how would that help them get out of their situation? That's just to aid them, banded over the real problem, right? Due to the conditions could kill them, you know? And of course, a wealthy person could say, well, how does that affect me? I have my house. I don't know. I don't see no poor people. You know what I mean? I have enough money to take care of my wealth, my health, my everything. How does that come and affect me? Well, it affects you because we all breathe in the same air, right? It affects you because viruses, when they spread, like Omicron or Delta variant or fluoride, all these viruses you can't see with your physical eye, and the you can drive in the most protective car, you still need to breathe air. And so if it's very hard, very easy to transmit from people to people, this virus won't go away if we don't solve the homeless problems. It will never go away. And so society will go into a circulation where wealthy people, obviously, we use their services. Anything that you're doing, you are using their service, right? If you own a house, you pay insurance. If you own a vehicle, you pay insurance. You pay property tax, right? You pay taxes as a human being every month. So everything you do, there's capitalization for the wealthy. But even the tax breaks that the poor gets and they get the money back and stuff, it's still because, you know, sometimes the wealthy knows giving money to the poor, right? It's like they can control what they do with the money, even though they're not there because of the situation. They can create environments where you need to use your money in order for you to survive. And that's the environment system that they created. And so they can time how fast you use your money, how much and when. Because every month if you pay rent, it's at the end of the month, right? 30 days, 31 days from the day that you've been living there. And it's first and last. So they know every 30 days you're going to pay a certain portion. They know that you need to eat. So ever so often, right, you need to go grocery shopping. So that's every single day you're going to eat and every single month. So they know how much you're going to spend. They know everything, what type of clothes, what you need, you know, due to your job, the type of service that is required, right? And so, no matter what service you acquire to help yourself, you still are going to have to use money. And so, the money goes back to their hands. And so, they get wealthier because they don't need to use their paycheck. They have so much wealth that they start, bargaining, doing things on a higher level. But for poor people, what can you do, right? You can only live on the rules of the wealthy. We need to be more fair with society. A lot of people think even if the wealth was switched back equally amongst the earth, the money in the maybe 15 to 20 years will still go back to those people that have the wealth today. Why? Because they have systems in place. Because we need to evaluate and analyze society different so we can do different things. We need to, for the sake of our future, for the sake of this planet, right? A small percentage of individuals cannot rule the rest because if they decide that they need to annihilate the rest, they can't due to the fact that they're in position that controls everything from protection to, you know, to anything, shelter, because poor person don't have a lot of freedom. They lack shelter. Their shelter is not the best shelter. Sometimes they don't even have, right? Their debt is all the way to the ceiling, very high. Their focus is only to survive. That is something that is a serious problem because it's a distraction that, you know, takes you away from your destiny. See what I'm saying? Takes you away from your destiny, man. And we, the people, need to, you know, finish our destiny. We need to acquire our purpose on earth and do the best thing for us. But if the resources are again have been shared amongst the earth, you know, and a certain culture of people have majority of it, and the rest of the world is left with just a small portion where, you know, everybody's fighting for it, chances are people are going to wipe each other out because a person, right, becomes desperate once, they do everything that they can, but yet nothing good happens. I just think we need to do things better, right? So that the crimes, the problems, the serious, real problems can be solved. If we cannot decide that, but yet we allowed the population to go to 8 billion, you know, what does that mean? It means we need to do better. We're not running out of resources. We have so much resources in the world. You know what I mean? The world wasn't populated before. And when, the world split and glacier came and split the core of the earth and countries separated, right? All of these things is just showing that we have the ability to live anywhere and populate it. Perhaps some people might be even interested in going to remote areas where the population is nothing, starting over. because the resources of that side of the land, or part of the earth, will be fresh because it's untouched. And so if we were able to spread people out like that, and they got the resources and amenities and everything, then I think nobody will have problems. Homelessness will be eradicated, right? Not just homelessness, poverty. We have so much, but yet so much people have so little, and the rest have so much. Some people are so rich that they can spend $1 million every day and they won't be poor. But yet others are so poor they can't even spend $1 a day just to maintain themselves. So there's a major difference, you know? Like, how are we supposed to solve these issues of today, issues of society? Because it is what is keeping us always apart. It is what is keeping us protesting, fighting, because we have not, you know, put things in a fair perspective. We have not said, you know what, we have to understand that, there can't be a whole bunch of people that don't have, and there's just a small portion of people, right? What took place, why that is happening? Because there's even people in different countries, right? Their family and everything comes from there, and they don't have anything. But yet those who are not from there have come there to accumulate almost everything. So we need to view things differently, or else this is going to create a lot of civil wars, a lot of problems if it's not already happening, right? A lot of problems will take place, and it's already taken place. I mean, we have so much machinery to be able to take care, whether those regions that rain doesn't happen and famine is happening, we have a weather machine. How come we cannot simply take it to where it can't rain and make it rain over there so that it can grow, so we can benefit from, you know, having this type of technology? We need to do better as a society. Sometimes, think about it, money is is an is a tool that is used in order to understand what kind of efforts you have put into society due to the fact of finance that you have, right? Now, suppose you don't have that, but you need a service. How would you be able to receive this service? Shouldn't you be provided that service? I mean, place to stay, health should be free. Food should be free. See what I'm saying? So that we are able to live longer and do more. There's no point of having people become homeless, don't have, and then after provide ways to get them out, but yet you are pulling them along, pulling, the curtain over their eyes so that they don't understand what you're doing. And so they're tied up in a financial, what's it called, way that for the rest of their lives, right, they're stuck under these restrictions. Because restrictions is not only mandates for society, but restrictions could be for individuals that are not financially sound, so that due to what they can buy, what they can't buy, But yet everybody's entitled to grow things. Everybody's entitled to own land. But yet there's others that don't have nowhere to live, nowhere to stay, right? They're not even considered important due to their financial status. And so, do you think more should be done about people with their poverty? Do you think the billionaires should be able to forfeit majority of their assets to the poor, the less fortunate, so that the earth can be better? Because if there's a serious crisis that's taking place in the world, we don't have time to say, well, this is not this or that is not that, right? We all are here to what? To live, to explore, to experience. We should have joy as well. Life changes, but due to the rules that we have changed over time. And so that has changed our perspective of what meaning life should mean to all of us. So let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, share, subscribe. You know, I mean, do you think billionaires should do that? Or do you think that they should just continue doing what they have been doing? And that those people are poor. They're poor because they deserve to be poor. Let me know what you guys think. Okay? Have a nice day. Bye now.